Hello, welcome to Thrive After Divorce, where we bring you all the tools and experts and ideas so that you can not just survive divorce, but thrive during and after. Today we have Dan Hamon. Welcome, Dan.
Well, thank you very much. It's good to be here.
Yeah, and Dan, you have the company, The Self-Care Revolution.
The Self-Care Revolution.
Yeah.
That's my Facebook group.
Okay, and you help people get over chronic pain and trauma, and you have a lot of techniques you were just sharing with me. So why don't you introduce yourself?
All right, I was in Canada. I'm a dual citizen. In the United States, I'm American. That's how they work it.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Canada when I was 2 years on my church to the United States, and ended up marrying and into the military on waivers because I had a lot of problems, but they let me in on waivers. Did 20 years there, and before that 20 years was finished, I had been married twice. So I problems like I was talking about. I through exhaustive belief that I could find solution. Every rock, I found a number of mentors, took schooling. I've never been one for just going to the halls of education, getting your money's worth. And so my education has been cherry picked and to what I need. So I'm a licensed massage therapist. I'm a lymphologist. I do hypnosis, and yes.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm married the third time and very happy in the marriage.
Hey, third time's a charm. I'm hoping myself. And you say, as Denis Waitley says?
Denis Waitley.
Denis Waitley. I'm not familiar with him, but he says the value is in the clay.
Yes.
And that you like to help people take that clay, that is the precious pearl, which each one of us are, and help them mold that clay into what they're meant to be. And I think that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
That we are all moldable still.
Yes, I had divorces which were rough. Greater issue was that a really bad self-confidence. If it was self-confidence or self-esteem, just growing up, I was scared of so many things, but I just always said it scared me to death. So I was scared a lot. But as I went through school with hypnosis and timeline therapy, that it was the first day to about the third year was the first child in 7 years died on the first day. I came very close to not making it to day 2. I figured my mother was probably pretty frightened. And then we pulled up stakes and went by boat across the ocean to New Zealand. And
wow.
That was very traumatic.
So
when I was able to take and resolve those issues that I had no clue about, like taking layers off of the onion,
yeah.
taking the layers off the onion was, in fact, I had physiological changes.
Oh. And
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so when I lived in California, and we're in the middle of the summer, if it's a breeze, I want a jacket.
Yeah.
Now I in a shirt to take the garbage out or to check on the car, the cold doesn't bother me. Also, I was very picky with relationships, or my mother, but I was a very picky eater, and now I
Really?
go with it.
That's
Same thing,
amazing.
driving at night. I used to not like to drive at night. Now I don't even care if I have my glasses on driving at night. And all these things were, my life was built on fears. The
Oh,
fears, which was all these layers. So in working out of the clam, you get to the pearl.
you do.
And just my belief and agreeing what Denis Waitley says is that those outer layers that have been fear and sadness, and you start to get to who the person really is, and that's a wonderful place to come from to thrive.
It is. It's not an easy place or comfortable, but it's the grit that makes the pearl. That's a saying I like too as well. It's
Yes.
the grit that makes the pearl. And I don't think we're aware of how much trauma or fear or self-talk shows up physically in our
I teach
world.
people to not have their unconscious back talk and to listen to them for where they want to go, because up here we have a pretty good idea of the direction we want to go, but the unconscious holds every memory or our conclusion opinion on every memory we've had, especially the trauma. It will flare up. You see somebody, you work for somebody who's 60 years old on you.
Yeah.
That's that childhood stuff coming up, and unconscious will bring it up so that we can fix it, so that we know that there's an anomaly, great and wonderful things that happen, terrible things. That's because the great and wonderful things are going smoothly in the system, but the others are an anomaly. And so the way my wife Kelly and I work with people, we don't dig anything up. As we work on it, we don't want the person to relive it or experience it at all. Sure they don't, but that they let unconscious know what lessons they've learned, and then the trauma's gone.
And do they have to be aware that they've learned the lesson? That's my question. Can we subconsciously learn lessons and we don't even really register that we've learned it?
Well, we go into
To say yes.
And as which is something that happens when you're watching TV and you're zoned out, driving and you're not thinking about, and how did I get here? I don't remember playing.
Yeah.
And so what you can communicate in those lessons come from you. And then, we'll be over that spot. Lessons we've learned come up in our communications about the things, that they've learned up here. And as they communicated in those lessons, they look down and the fear is gone.
Do
The
you
sadness is gone.
When you think of like the subconscious and learning lessons, I just have this question I thought of. What about, does it appear in our dreams? Like when you think you're healed or you worked on it, but then it pops up in your dreams. What's that?
Well, I worked so hard from the time I was about 21 to the time I was 52, and of it. Took care of it. It kind of spinned me around. I had no idea. I had pretty much taken care of everything I could think of and everything I could remember. And the unconscious is holding everything. And in my case, what happened when we were just newly training with other students that we weren't even exactly working on that, but I did go into deep theta, and my unconscious ran, and so it's pretty traumatic. And I'm not sure I am.
I don't know if there even is an answer, you know, that anyone can really know and a definitive answer, but I just know as things pop up in my life, or just it's
The
always
dreams.
amazing to me, the dreams where things pop up and you think,
So
where'd that come from?
yeah, in my experience, dreams are coming from, and maybe where you come from. I had a lot of military war dreams. I had, before I ever went into the military, and then when I got, and it stopped while I was in the military and started after I went through this process. Bad dream. I've had some challenging dreams, but no hard dream. Like I say, he learns to not have their unconscious. They have to learn to talk to it a lot, because it seeks direction. So you take that extra time and you start training it in areas.
I love that. Your subconscious seeks direction. Is that what you said?
And yeah, symbolism.
Symbolism?
So sometimes when we don't like something, or we're not willing to make a change, you could almost put a picture on of how you see that, of what's happening. This joy comes from our finding out that the value is in the clay. It doesn't matter what's happened to us. It doesn't matter, in some degree, been done to us. What's we're not what we do. We have an intrinsic value that if we can grab onto that intrinsic value and get to that intrinsic value, we can have a lot of peace. We can manage things. We can deal with things. But when our confidence is low, somebody says something negative to us and it hurts because we believe it.
Oh,
really positive to us, praises us, bounces off. We have a hard time with it because we don't believe it. And so one of the things when I'm working with a woman, one of the first things I have her do is, I am beautiful.
I am beautiful. Yeah, I say,
I am beautiful.
I'm worthy. I'm beautiful. I'm worthy. You know what? I've never thought of that. I don't think that when your confidence is low, and most of us have been there, something can only hurt when we believe that it's true. So, I mean, if it hurts you, that's a key thing to go, I believe that. Why do I believe that? How can I work on that? I've never thought of that, yeah, words, that whole sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me is so not true. And the words only hurt you if you believe them. Right.
It's my words that hurt me.
It's my words that hurt me.
It's my words that hurt me. And unconscious is not benevolent or malicious. Wonderful, amazing tool that will serve us so greatly, and hurts when we don't understand how to have it help us. So I've had 2 situations where I kept getting hurt because I kept doing the same thing. I mean, physically, kept doing the same things. I changed automatically, when I stopped to think about it and to put in a new pattern. Unconscious needs to be trained. Well, have you ever had 2, maybe a milk bottle and of pickles or something like that, and you tried to put the bottle of the pickle lid on the milk jug?
Yeah, it doesn't fit.
What happens is we're off somewhere else where an unconscious has to take over, and they say runs our life about 80% of the time. When somebody says it's because unconscious is running.
Yes. And when
For example,
oh, go ahead. Yes.
for example, I had a really long, hard day, and my wife said, relax in the chair. So I started relaxing in the chair, and going into theta, and scream in the bathroom. And I'm going like, fighter. And so I get up, but I was so comfortable, I didn't get out of theta. And I go into the bathroom, and it's kind of a tight fit, and sink, here's my wife, here's the door, the toilet paper roll is on the other side of her. And there's this hot wax melt about the size of a toilet paper. I look at the toilet paper hard to get to. I'm still in too much theta. I stick my hand in the hot wax. That wasn't one of the times I got hurt, but unconscious will work. It doesn't care if you don't train it what to do. We've trained it to walk. We've trained it skills are. And where we lack a skill, where we lack a communication skill or perspective or self-esteem, it hasn't been trained in the way, and therefore needs to be trained.
Yeah. You know what I'm
and
thinking?
When we understand plasticity that can affect us, it means that our brain can grow and develop and create new, and our DNA is always shifting.
Yeah.
And so when we understand that, we can just make a mistake, make an adjustment, grow, learn, do better, make a mistake, learn, grow, do better. Our whole lives, we can be improving.
Yeah.
And if we're kind of ornery, anything like that, and we may get into a relationship and do really well, but society, because the way our society is, people start to lose some of their cognizance as they get older. Time really will come out. Our shortcomings will come out. My mother used to say to me, always have a clean pair of underwear on in case you have an accident. We want the doctors to see clean.
Yeah.
So, grow, develop, identify challenges and overcome them, take the layers off, become the person we want to be. So heaven forbids anything happens as we're older.
Yeah. And then don't you think to go with that, to grow, to be the person you're meant to be, but that's also accepting the person you are. Like sometimes we set a standard so high, like I want to be perfect. I want to be this or that. And to accept, like for me, if I said, I want to get up every day at 4 a.m. and work out and do whatever, that is not me. you know, I mean, I have to
It's
accept.
probably not a good idea either. Sleep is really important for the
I
brain
know, but you know what I mean? Like
repair.
you have to accept who you are at some point too.
You have to find out who
Yeah.
you have to come to understand something that somewhere up here, especially if you're a religious person, somewhere up here you understand that you're a child of God, that you have value, that you have worth beyond what we comprehend. So getting there, being able to understand, we have to own. We have to own what we're responsible for. Anything that registers as a problem, we have to own it. We may have had something terrible happen to us, but reliving it is because somebody did something. Getting past it is owning it, saying, you know, that may have happened to me, but it's me that's putting it on myself every day by reliving it. Unconscious doesn't know if it's a or if it's happening right now. That's how in sports or different things that we're learning as we practice it in our mind, unconscious is just experiencing it. Well, if we relive terrible traumas and terrible things that happened, bad relationships and things like that, unconscious is getting mired down in it.
Yeah, we're
Because
reviving it. We're not just reliving it, we're reviving.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we don't take on of the way we feel, whatever reason it came from, it's now ours. If we don't take ownership, we can't resolve it.
That's so true.
If it's somebody else's fault, I accept, complain and moan and groan. But if my reaction to it and my feelings about it are mine, I can do. I can forgive them. I can forgive, and I can a more peaceful place.
And you know, when we go through any trauma, and it could be work, or I mean, this show is about divorce, and it's easy to want to blame or point fingers or feel guilt, you know, the other extreme. But my question, I'm thinking, going back to how you said the subconscious is not malicious or benevolent. You said it reversed, benevolent or the subconscious probably doesn't care about fault. You know what I mean? The subconscious isn't thinking it's your fault, my fault, her fault. Is it? No. Subconscious doesn't care about. No, yeah, right. So I mean, like, your subconscious doesn't care if it's your ex-husband's fault or your ex-wife's fault. It's how you own it.
Right. Our mind, the attitude and the opinion about what happened to us. Yeah. That burning opinion or hate or challenge, that's what's locked in the unconscious. And that's why it's a problem. Again, somebody's complimented you. Are you thinking about it all the time? Probably should be. But are you thinking about it all the time? It's smooth in the process. But you have hate, you have fear, you have sorrow in the program.
Yeah.
It's right there, right how you put it. Well, you read lots of more. From time I was about 19, 18, my father, when I was younger, was always listening to Earl Nightingale. The big, one of the first. And I would listen to that and I would listen to that. And when I first got into the ship, I'm reading a book, I'm to the place where the altar call is, I'm okay. My unconscious says, no, you're not. And I didn't know how to argue with
that. I love that. Because it's so true. When you say, I'm okay, and your subconscious is the first one, is like, No, you're not.
I will teach you a trick.
Okay.
You're looking very lovely tonight. Are you
Am I okay? Is that what you said?
Can you say I'm okay? And does unconscious give you a hug?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Unconscious gives you a hug?
Yeah.
When you say something and unconscious contradicts you, remember it loves to be figurative, okay?
Mhm.
Look over there and say, that's not true. So I'm saying, okay, I'm way back, the young sailor, and I say, I'm okay. Unconscious says, no, you're not. Look over to unconscious and say, that's not true. And then say, I am,
I am okay.
and then check it.
Yeah.
You do that a few times and unconscious will quit contradicting you. Think of, you've got a world, you've never paid him any attention at all, kind of let him go out on his own and not been there for any some sage advice. It's like, what language are you speaking? Conscious is like that. You tell unconscious true enough times, and then in a loud say what is true, it's gonna quit arguing with you. You need to start doing affirmations that you do in a relaxed, very relaxed situation to be feeding it the things that you actually believe. They got down to here.
Yeah. I really love, I wrote it down, how you said burning opinion. I think that's such a great phrase because a lot of people, I mean, I don't like to say the word hate. I don't like to think that I hate anything. I don't, it's so strong, but I do have burning opinions. I like that when to use that like those burning opinions can start to mess with you and throw you off your game because they're your strong reaction to something. And by
Yes.
saying the affirmations, how do you, I understand the affirmations to build up your self-love, self-esteem. What are good affirmations to combat burning opinions?
So give me a burning opinion. It can even be
Well, like for a lot of people, let's say a burning opinion could be my ex-partner is out to get me. I was trying to think of parenting, money, all those, but my ex-partner just wants to ruin my life. That's just my burning opinion. They're out to get me.
Well, what if that's true?
Well, I've kind of lived it. You got to run.
So here's if things are coming down on you, if somebody nasty to you, think of kung fu. Think of having your zen. So as a military person, when things are really, really bad, you want to be calm so that you can do things the very best that you can. And
that is great advice, military or not. When things are really bad, you want to be calm.
So yes, and so like going back to training the unconscious as well as muscle memory, we would be in port, we would go out for a couple of weeks, all kinds of different and drill and drill and drill and drill. And you might only have ever one or two times your career where to deal with that problem, but you're totally ready. I mean, I can think towards it.
Yeah.
And so, but being able to affirmations need to be, I mean, you can, if an affirmation sounds good, listen to it. But every time it's not quite in your words, change it to your words, what you're hearing. Repeat in your mind the words that you, and to write an affirmation in a direction or something you're doing, to put it in your own words and even perhaps record it, but in a relaxed, very comfortable, deep breathing, relaxed and more relaxed and more relaxed. Perhaps having your hands on your knees and saying, raise my hands, and telling your hands, try and raise my hand. Relax, take it. You're in a bit of theta, run through the affirmation that you want to give yourself. And you may have to start off with, I am enough.
Yeah.
I have worth. I am loved, and think where and who I am loved by. And it may need to start there to be building that foundation.
Yeah. And now I'm thinking too, well, one thing that I want to say, I think it's so important what you just said, and I say it all the time to people, is put it in your own words. Don't say this doesn't apply to me, or this doesn't work for me, or if the word God doesn't work, use the word energy or light, but put it into whatever words that resonate with you, and it'll work. And then second, I don't think I've asked this question before, but do you think it's important too, just for your conscious and subconscious, to know this is normal? This is part of the human experience. We all feel it. I mean, it's all a process we all have to work through. Like, I could look at you and you're in your Navy sweatshirt and you've been in the military and you've been trained and you're gone through all this work and hypnotherapy, and I could think it's just easy for you, but it doesn't matter if you're a man, a woman, it's effort, it's work, and we all get scared.
Yeah, and PTSD, that trauma is because we weren't quite able to deal with it.
Yeah.
So we want to work on and perfect managing, coping, and any challenge that we have, or anything we want to learn, communication, anything that we want to learn, somebody else has done it and we can model after them. Somebody's had a worse situation and thrived, worse relationship and thrived. And that's what we want to develop, is being able to be flexible, a turn. Our unconscious love ahead. And sometimes life goes this way. And if we're not wired to be flexible, it can be very, very, very uncomfortable, to the point of being paralyzed.
Yes.
Not to act.
No, it's a sad state, but some people do take that turn and they can't course back. They can't.
I suspect we've all had our turn.
Oh yeah.
But it's understand there's a better way. Each of us has everything wise, if we can learn and be taught how to use it, to be happy, to be confident, to have self-esteem, to have our unconscious help us. Have a morning routine that I work with. I do a affirmation in my mind at night, in kind of a relaxed state. I run through my whole day for the next day, which until I get to my work day. Then I pull out my book, which is a rocket book with the erasable pens. I don't know if you're familiar with them. but I write down, I'm working on, I can put it right now into 1, 2, 3, or 4 and identify what I need to do. A 4 is if something's on my list too long, I won't eat until I get it.
Oh, wow. That's now
Fast.
you and both you and your Kelly work with people and help them. And does it help having a supportive partner that understands this work you're doing on yourself?
It does.
Because not everybody listening has that.
She's got a good deal, and she's got a really good deal compared to my first 2 wives.
Yeah. They kind of had to prime you a little bit.
By fire, yeah.
Yeah, by fire.
And we can learn through a flexibility through learning to train our unconscious and work out those anomalies, so that if somebody says something negative to you, in your mind you hear that's not true.
No.
Somebody says something good to you, and that's where we want to be.
I know. You know what? You just said being flexible. That's part of it, is the willingness to be flexible. And you know, one of the times I knew I was healing, so funny, instead of being terrified by some of the words my ex-husband would say, I found myself thinking like he's acting like a child. And what I heard in my head was like, I'm rubber, you're glue. What you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. And it was so silly, but that silliness and how it affected me, and I visualized it like him throwing it, and instead of sticking at me and covering me, it just like bounced right back off. And I'm like, you keep it. But when we see our reaction,
just loves that kind of thing.
Yeah, but when you change, you feel that conscious change. That's when you know, when your reaction that you can't plan is changing.
Yeah, and you get all these tools to work with the mind and the unconscious and still, every now and not.
Yeah,
you have the tools to work with it. And it's like you said, it's the human condition. And when we human condition, we have to take on not working in our lives.
Yeah.
And fixing it isn't fixing it and dragging it up and putting my mind, putting it on the couch and live through it again. It's conscious that you're okay in that situation. You're okay. Then what we do is, once we go to a spot in timeline therapy, we find a challenge, we learn the lessons to resolve the challenge, and then we take and we clear the whole line with those lessons.
I love that. I'm just getting familiar with timeline therapy. I've heard a lot, and I love synchronistic timelines, making them, but timeline therapy I'm just hearing about. And I find it fast. I love all therapy, but I find it fascinating. Timeline therapy. Yeah.
Timeline is everything that's ever happened to you held by the unconscious. And again, when something's good, it's a smooth line. When there's a problem, it's a irregularity. The unconscious will throw it up in our face every now and then, so we deal.
And what
we just live the problem.
And what we resist persists. So until we address it, it's going to keep causing that.
Exactly, what we resist persists.
So this has been so interesting. You have had so many, we've had a little struggle with breaking up now and then, but I love how much value you gave. The value is in the clay, but the responsibility that you put with it, with, saying that you own you own what we are. I was taking short notes. How did you say that? What we are, our responsibility. That's
Has happened to us. Everything. We may not control everything, but we control how we feel about it. And when we can let it, like a rain jacket, rain off of a rain jacket or off the back of a duck, then we can go at it with power to make the best decision of a situation. If we're flustered, then we go into fight or flight. Unconscious takes over. And I use this example where life is a big yellow bus, and our unconscious is driving, okay, and our messages conscious are the co-pilot, and we're sitting in the back. Do you want to be going through life like that with that trio, that trio situation? No, it can be a really bumpy ride.
Yes, it would be. Up
to the front, beside unconscious. Tell it all the beautiful lessons we've learned, all the things we've learned. Also to let it know, we're okay. We're okay. You're okay. I'm all right. I have value. I have worth. Nothing that has happened to me, that mistakes I've made or in relationships or what other try to put down on me, because a lot of people are still in caustic relationships, even through family. It doesn't matter. That is not. I am quality. I am value. I have worth, and this is me. So what comes in at me, I can reject it because it doesn't fit those parameters. The good I can bring in, I can work to get lessons from any place they come from.
I love that. I love visual. I love the idea of like, would you ride in the back of the bus? No. And if you move forward, would you start yelling at the bus driver? Get them from? No. But it's okay to say, yeah, we've taken a couple of detours, but the wheels are still on the road. Still go.
Yeah. Unconscious has this recorder playing.
Yeah.
Of what we haven't resolved.
Well, tell us about your, I know you have your Facebook group, you've created an app. Tell everyone out there.
And I'm looking for founders.
You're looking for founding members?
Through the Self-Care Revolution on Facebook. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. I can't hear it. You have lost your volume. Let's see. I can't hear you. Where'd you go? Where'd you go up in Canada?
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Okay, I heard you the Facebook group, and then it went, I didn't have the volume. So where can people find you?
So I'm building an app that is going to be the self-improvement hub. And I am right now doing a 6-week course on goal setting, which I will give them a breakthrough session where we go through those emotions. And then they'll have membership to that for a year. It's going to have all kinds of motivational books and audio books. And these founders, I'm going to be giving them a $5,000 package for $300.
Wow.
And these founders are going to help me with feedback. how I can make that app better and better and better for them individually. And I get all these individuals helping me make it just exactly what they want. We're going to be able to reach more people, help more people.
Now, when you say make it the app, you mean for your whole group? You're gonna like kind of survey your group and see how to make it better, or do you tailor?
Those founders will give me feedback, and we'll do some regular feedback calls, and where they can gain from each other, and they can gain from each other in the community.
Yeah.
But I want this. Let's see, what was the book? Is it Think and Grow Rich? No, it was How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Okay.
It began as a person talking to people, other people wanting to hear it, talking to small groups, talking to small groups.
I heard that book, and it took them a long time to write it, right?
It took 20 years to actually become the book, because it was growing and growing and growing. This is what I want of the app. I want the app to have such a huge impact on people, and everybody who gets on board with me as a founder, besides having huge impact in their lives, will be helping a lot of other people.
I agree. I like founding members and things like that, and the idea of creating it and getting the impact and getting the opinion of the people we're trying to help. Because we think we know until we really ask them, and they're like, yeah, no, that's not what I need at all. We all need this, or we need that.
Exactly. As I build it, is coming from my perspective.
Right.
And my perspective could only possibly be a smidgen of the pie.
I agree.
People have this picture that their reality is somehow universal. Everybody must think like I do.
Yeah.
But our reality comes from our experiences, our perspective and opinion on those experiences. That causes a belief, that causes us dwelling on something and growing a certain perspective. That's our reality. A lot of it generates before we even have memories. So in some ways, our reality sucks. And when we can understand that, we can let go of things that don't work to adopt things that do work.
And realize other people's realities aren't mine.
Exactly. They're not mine. And that gives me a bit of more patience with them.
Yes.
Wars are fought over these different opinions. You don't have my reality, we've got to go to war.
You know what I've come up with, that people I know in my life that I might not agree with, which is not many people, but the reality, I believe, is we are both doing the best we can or we're capable of. Even if our ideas don't meet up, like say if you're co-parenting, in a co-parenting situation for people listening, even though we don't agree, I know we're both doing in our reality what we think is right.
Right. And
like we're both being the best parent we could be, even though we don't agree with each other.
Right. Because those are on different levels of perspective. Yeah. And if we can learn to communicate, not just the talking, but understanding, and both sides can understand, comes to a whole new level, and you can create a new reality.
Yeah. Even if it's just respect. Even if it's a mutual respect to go, you know what, we agree to disagree, but I know you're doing your best. I can't ask for more. I'm doing my best. You can't ask for more.
Yeah. You have to manage whatever you're given the best way it can be given.
Yeah.
But if two people can come to the point where they understand the flaws, and there are flaws in their reality because they're not perfect, and then understand communication, two universes can meld.
Yeah. And there's a song when universes collide or something like that, but
I like that. That sounds good.
universes
Yeah.
collide.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, it was an absolute pleasure. I thank you so much.
You're
And
so welcome.
for everyone listening and watching, and they don't know, you have been sitting in a cold room
40 degrees.
for us. 40 degrees. Well, I'm in Arizona. 40 degrees seems cold, and it's not in my head. It's real. I was born and raised in Minnesota. I know that our bodies truly, trauma or not, your bodies adjust from heat to cold.
And from challenges I had before I even knew, it had a huge impact on how cold I was. And I find now if I'm cold, I need to take a breath and relax. And I warm up, where before I was probably getting all tense because I was so worried about the cold.
Yeah, I've thought it's because I was getting older or because I've lived in Arizona for so long now, but I feel like I get cold a lot and I have to pay attention to my emotional state when I'm feeling cold.
Yes. So if anybody would like to help out with this venture, go to the Self-Care Revolution. I got two of them also if it gets hard to find that one, Dan Hamon's Self-Care Revolution.
And we'll have your information listed below.
Yeah.
Below all
Oh,
this.
actually, it's the Healthcare Revolution. But if you go to Facebook Self-Care Revolution, it'll go there also.
Okay. Well, I think the goal setting sounds amazing. I just hope you don't train your people that they can't eat if they don't reach their goals.
No, that was something.
Kidding. No, when you said on your daily list, you'll be like,
have you ever heard of hungering and fasting?
yes.
My older brother set me on to this. If something's on my list for too long, I quit eating. I pray about it, pray for help, and I go until I finish.
Yeah,
but
I was just joking.
I didn't quit. Yeah. So be careful. Be careful what you do with eating and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, well, it was a pleasure. Please tell Kelly hi. We didn't get to meet her, but I appreciate all her work. And
thank you very much.
You're welcome. And you enjoy Canada.
Oh, we're in Buffalo now.
Oh no, well, you're all over. You're
in Buffalo now. Yeah.
You're in Buffalo.
Her mother is here, and this was my last duty station, and her mother's here, so we came back from Nevada to here.
Okay, so well, you're all over the place. So
yeah.
Well, we will look for you on the App Store, and I'm sure it will start off on the Passion app.
Yep, it'll be in the Passion app to begin with, and it'll be the self-improvement.
Okay.
The self-improvement hub. And if anybody will join, help me in this, let me know on Facebook.
Well, thank you, Dan. And you sure had a lot to share, and I appreciate it all.
You're so welcome.
Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.